Welcome everyone, my name is WirthyPickle and this is the channel for all things Starfield. Today we're going to be talking about everything that we know about Starfield settlements. Unlike other Bethesda games, it seems like this is going to be a very in-depth base building mechanic that's really going to enhance your experience with the game. It seems that the Hearthfire Skyrim DLC as well as Fallout 4's settlement system was really just a test pilot for what base building could be in a video game. Honestly, settlement building might just be the feature that I'm most excited about with Starfield. And trust me, there's a lot more to settlements than you think. There was a lot that was shown in this last showcase, as well as the original reveal trailer. And I'll be breaking that all down in this video. We're actually going to be covering a few different main topics, and that's going to be where you can build your settlements, crews, the purpose that base building has, automating cargo ships, manufacturing and resource collecting, possible defense systems for your base, and throughout the video I'm also going to be pointing out a few details that I found interesting. If you're looking forward to Starfield though, be sure to subscribe for some more content, leave a like, and comment what other videos you'd like to see from me. All these videos I've come out with so far have been suggestions by you guys, so if there's something you'd like me to cover, just drop it down in the comment section and I'll see if I can put something together for you. Now, there's a lot you can do with settlements in Starfield. But before you can do anything, of course, you're going to have to figure out where you want to build your settlement in the first place. Now, there's a lot of systems to choose from. Each system's very unique. They're going to have different planets and different moons, and depending on the resource that you may need or what you're looking to do with the settlement, you're going to need to choose a certain system that has a planet that you like. But once you look at the planet, the most important thing you got to do is scan it. Once you scan it, you can see the unique materials to that planet, and there's actually various regions. You can see it on the screen now. There's different regions that have different resources. The examples you see here are chlorine and iron. So if your goal is to collect a certain resource, you just pick the region and the planet that has that resource. You pick nearly any spot that you like in that area, and you can set up an outpost and collect that resource. Now, what if you don't want to set up an outpost for resource collecting? Maybe you just want to stay there, it has an awesome view, you found something funny and you want to set up an outpost. Where can you set up an outpost? Well, let's listen to what a developer has to say.
After some exploring, you can find a spot to set up a base camp. Outposts can be built almost anywhere on any planet.
Now, according to what he's saying here, one might hypothetically want to travel to Mars, take the Mars rover, and have that on their back porch as a poker table. And it sounds like that's a very feasible thing to do. Maybe you can, maybe you can't, we don't really know, but that would be pretty darn cool if I could have that as my poker table. Alright, so we've determined that you can place the settlement or the outpost practically anywhere, but let's take a step back and just think, why would we want a settlement in the first place? I found three main reasons why you'd want to build a settlement. The first two are for making money, that's resource collecting and manufacturing. The third reason is just to have a cool place to live and put all your crap. Alright, so having a place to put all your stuff is pretty straightforward, so we'll put that to the side, and let's take a deeper look at resource collecting and manufacturing. Once you've determined the resource and the place that you want to build the settlement, the first thing you'll need is power. Power is generated through these unique wind turbines, and I also imagine that there's going to be solar power, but when I went back through the footage, I actually couldn't find normal solar panels. I saw satellites that look like solar panels, but if I'm mistaken, please let me know in the comments. I don't believe there's actual just standard solar panels, but I could be mistaken there. After you have enough power supplied through those wind turbines, you're then able to set up the extractors. The extractors are essentially the mining machine that's collecting the resource while you are away. I also imagine that you're going to have to set up some type of storage facility or silo, whatever it may be, to collect the resource and pile it up. At that point, you can choose whether you want to sell the resource or you can look into manufacturing. We don't know everything about manufacturing or how it works, but we do know a couple things and we can speculate a couple things. But let's start with this clip here.
And you can hire characters you meet to keep it up and running.
This is a really important line because it not only implies that you can automate the resource collecting, but you can also automate manufacturing, meaning you can take multiple resources, hire out some type of crew, and that crew will then combine that resource into an item or a material that you can sell for, I'm assuming, more of a profit. We also know that we can set up different trade routes between our settlements and our outposts. So let's say we want to make our outpost as efficient as possible. we could build one settlement on one planet that collects just iron. We can also set up a separate settlement that collects just lead. Now let's say we can manufacture some type of item that requires just those two components. We can set up a trade route where we have our crew fly ships from both settlements, collecting both of those resources, bringing them to a third settlement that is just a manufacturing facility. So you combine those two resources, you have your crew then sitting at these workbenches creating this item that requires those two resources, and then they can stash it at that location. So when you fast travel to that location, you can then collect the resources and then sell it for a massive profit. And you can do this on a grand scale. You can do this with as many resources as possible, as many settlements as possible, and you can manufacture all of these items and sell it for a massive profit. And that brings us to our next topic, which is hiring or setting up crews to essentially run your outpost for you. We learned most of this from the spaceship customization and assigning people to your spaceship, but we can take that same information and take it over to our outposts as well. So just like customizing your ship's crew, you can do the same thing for your outpost. If you have a certain amount of jobs that need to be done, you collect that many people or you hire that many people and you assign them to specific roles. If you want them to manufacture, build certain items or mine certain items, you just find that person that has a specialty in that item, you assign it to them, and they will accomplish that work for you. One thing to note here as well is you can see at the very bottom it says security mini bot. Now this is super interesting because if you go back to the clip that I showed a little bit earlier, you see these little robots kind of zipping around the room doing who knows what, but it sounds like there's mini bots or even larger robots that we can hire that accomplish different tasks for us. And I assume it's a set cost that's probably a little bit more, but you don't have to pay them weekly or monthly like I assume we'll have to pay our human workers. While on the topic of the security bot, there's only one reason why you'd need security, and that's because your base can be attacked. This means you're gonna have to be really careful where you put your settlement. Maybe you need to put it on higher ground so it's easier to defend, or maybe you can put it up against a wall or a rock so you have something protecting a single side of your settlement. Either way, I think it would be pretty interesting to have the certain settlements that extract the material, and that one wouldn't need as much protection because you are shipping the material out right away. However, if you have a manufacturing facility that holds the material, you really got to bunker that down like a fort. Got to make sure you have a lot of security bots or people on duty protecting, because if you get raided or attacked, you got to be able to defend the material that you just spent so much effort crafting. And it's not just ores that we're extracting. We can actually farm resources for plants and animals.
With the help of your scanner, you'll chart the uncharted and discover exotic wildlife.
If you have the skills, you can even figure out that certain creatures and plants, you can build an outpost and produce resources from those plants and animals. You can get experience and rewards for fully surveying planets and fully surveying a whole system.
While we do see a little clip of a greenhouse for farming plants for their resources, it's not quite clear how we're going to tame or multiply animals for mass production of their resources. It's not like Minecraft where we can just swish around some hay and then boom, we have a bunch of cows. But I imagine that we can collect the animals or whatever they are in a single space where we can then multiply them and collect their resources. They do show us 4 specific resources that we can farm from plants and animals. The first is from a moth wing. It looks like we can extract fiber from farming them. We also have the sailgator, which that one we can get pigment from the sailgator. There's also dragons in this, just like Skyrim, and that one we can get sealant. And then lastly, speaking of Minecraft, it looks like we can farm creepers as well, and that gives us toxin instead of gunpowder. Now, the very last thing that I want to mention with these settlements is just how cozy you can actually make it. It's not just a resource collecting facility where you have a bunch of slave labor. You can make it like home. I mean, when you look at this screenshot here, you can see this little bot roaming around. He's there to clean up. You have 3 different types of seats. You have a cool coffee table there with what looks like a model boat to me. Maybe it's just a little pixelated. You've got a weight set. What I absolutely love too is the mannequin. Just like Skyrim, you can have the mannequin for your armor or cool collector's items that you find. And then if you look at the very back, That looks like a ping pong table to me. If we can actually play ping pong, I am going to lose my mind. But that's enough of what I think. What do you guys think of the settlement system? Will you be spending time on this, or will you stick to the quests? Thanks again for the crazy growth that I've seen on this channel. It's been so much fun to connect with you guys in the comments section. But if you aren't subscribed and you made it all the way to the end of the video, please do me a favor and subscribe to the channel. I'm hoping to hit 1,000 subscribers by the end of the month, and I can't do it by myself. I love you all. Until I see you in the next video, stay worthy.